What's going on, everybody? It's me, JP, and today we're gonna talk about bad molts. Alright, so just a little disclaimer. All of the things that I'll be sharing today will be just about my experience, the experiences of my friends and co-keepers. So if you don't have any ideas or any suggestions or any in-depth explanations, I would be so grateful if you comment down below. Before anything else, let me just show you what does a bad molt or a mismolt looks like. A bad molt or a mismolt is the failed shedding of the exoskeleton of an invertebrate. They can still breathe, they can still eat, but some cases, the worst cases, you can just definitely euthanize them or end their suffering. And now we're gonna talk about the causes of the bad molts or the mismolts of your praying mantis. Number one, of course, is their enclosure. So since we are the keeper or we are responsible for their life, we should make sure that their enclosure is the best for them. An enclosure of a mantis should be an arboreal setup, or it focuses more on the height of the enclosure instead of the width, since they are living in trees or shrubs. So we should replicate that one with their enclosure. So basically, the minimum requirement or the ideal size of their enclosure should be 3 times the height of the mantis and 2 times the width of the mantis. So it can vary. If you are feeling a bit generous, you can give it like a bigger enclosure so that it can live more comfortable. I mean, why do we need the enclosure to be like tall? The answer is, since the mantis molting process is they hang upside down just like this mantis. So they need that extra height so that they wouldn't like hit the ground and get a bad molt. Just like my mantis right here. Or I forgot that she was about to molt, so she can still walk, she can still hunt her food, but her wings are a bit messed up. So she can still breed, but the male should have at least a hard time breeding with her. So the next cause of a bad molt or a mismolt is definitely temperature and humidity. So a lot of mantis species needs a drier enclosure, maybe some a damp enclosure. It really depends on where the mantis is from. For example, an orchid mantis needs a bit a humid enclosure. For example, a Haradula species, they need more like the dry or tropical type of enclosure. So maybe a bit dry, just like with the ghost mantis, they need just a bit dry so they can mold properly. Okay, so I had to stop filming a few days ago because the loud noise outside was getting too distracting. Anyway, the next thing that would affect your mantis to have a bad molt or a mismolt is their diet and overfeeding. So overfeeding, of course, if you feed them too much, they get so fat, or when they try to molt, they will fall off because of their heavy abdomen. So basically gravity. So just feed them at least maybe once a day with a small nymph of like a, for example, like a roe. Don't feed them too much, maybe at least once a day. If you have like a smaller species, if you maybe have a bigger species, the Rambodero species or Haradula species, you can feed them at least twice a day. And the diet, I've never had a personal like experience with the diet. Some people say when you feed them like like pinky mouse or the pinky mice, something like this. If you feed them with that one, since it has like bones, it can affect their molting because it has like a high calcium content, but I don't really have personal experience on that, so you can just do your research on it. Speaking of feeders, sometimes we forget that the feeders are also carnivorous, so and we forget that our mantis is about to molt, and we forget to remove the feeders on their enclosure. Sometimes the feeders will be the one who is feeding on our mantis, so don't forget to remove like live like roaches or maybe other feeders that can definitely eat your praying mantis while they are molting. They are very sensitive, or they are soft when they are molting, so they are very much like a target. They are like a vegetable. Okay, so the last thing that can affect your mantis to have a bad molt or a miss molt is you. Because sometimes we tend to check them too much and then they get disturbed and then they fall off when they're molting. So it's just us. And also we don't provide enough proper enclosure, we don't feed them enough, or we feed them too much, so it's just you. And we leave a lot of live feeders thinking that it's not gonna attack our mantis, so it's just us sometimes. So from time to time, just let our mantis do their thing. I believe they have their instinct, so just do your part on creating the best enclosure. Just feed them like on time, just have water or something, and they'll do just fine. And since we decided to start this like mantis keeping hobby, so as much as possible we should provide their needs as their keepers. So as much as possible provide the best enclosure, feeding, and all of that, so that they will have the best life and they don't have a bad molt. We definitely make mistakes on our previous pets and all of that, but we can definitely correct them to our next pets so that they wouldn't experience bad molts, deaths, and all of that, early deaths. Okay, so I think that's about it. If you have anything else to add, you can definitely comment down below on the comment section. And if you learned something, please leave a like and subscribe to this channel for more Mantis video. See you on the next one. Bye bye.